Peter and Robin, the comments would like you to address a certain member of Inter's
There's no
midfield.
need. There's no need.
SW6 would like to call to the stand Barella. 24K said, please, we need to talk about this scrub Barella who sneaked out of a stinker versus Barcelona and got shown levels by us.
Listen, let's have it right, okay? I'll let you continue on, but let's start things off, okay? Inter Milan were deplorable on the day. No questions asked. There was nothing good in L'Equipe. I think L'Equipe's one of the hardest rated player rating thing in the world. They gave Enrique a 10 out of 10, but they gave 7 Inter players 2 out of 10, and they gave DeMarco, who had a stinker, 1 out of 10. He smelled ponging.
He's bold with a Mohican. So
you know what time it is. What time is it, Ernest? I don't know. Crazy. Even back then, that wasn't cool. No. Yeah, even back in 2010, that was acceptable. Let alone today. In the final,
he came back from injury. He wasn't doing. He hasn't recovered since. This is an Inter Milan team that's played 59 games this season. Unfortunately, the worst week I think in their history, where they one of the worst seasons ever, because they lost the Super the Coppa Italia to AC Milan in I think the semi or the quarter. They then lost obviously on the final day to Napoli for the league title, and then on the final hurdle against PSG they absolutely got packed in. And this for me is just what I was aging watching this game, because I was looking at men that are Cherby is playing at centre half in the Champions League. He's 37. We love Jan Sommer. He's 34, something like that. Like there are players in this side where you just say, "Hang on a minute, where are you?" And the midfield, as Ernest pointed out, listen, the PSG won the game in midfield. Full stop. They had the ball. They had everything. They completely bossed it. Inter just got run ragged. And on the day, you know what's funny? When you watch the Barcelona game, they looked knackered then. It looked like this was a game too far for them then. Yeah. Because even the goal scorers that were scoring in the last couple of seconds.
Saving them.
Yeah, he was. And it was unfortunate when he came on, he went straight away.
That injury looked nasty, man.
Yeah, sad. Inter just did not have anything left in the tank. And I don't know whether, like at the start of the season, I think Inter Milan, I predicted them to actually get to the Champions League final. But I thought they were a lot stronger. And like natural fitness. When I say fitness, I don't mean are you fit enough to run, but like after 60 games, can you still stand up tall? I expected them to still be here, but it was very clear from even since that Barcelona game in the league and everything else, they look like 30-year-old men across the pitch. And then Simone Inzaghi ran out of ideas in the game, because even when he was bringing on defender after defender, and the defense was getting worse. So you knew that, and at 2-0, you saw him lose it. You saw him absolutely lose it, and it was a man who looked like he's not got this under control anymore. And it's one thing. One of the things I love about, let's say, Italian managers, they always look like they're in control of the situation, especially like an Ancelotti. When Ancelotti's 2-0 down with Real Madrid, and there's 8 minutes to go, he's the coolest man on the block, and they go and win 3-2 somehow. Yeah. In this situation, we're talking about like passion gone too far, whereby he just lost his head. And Inter Milan, I don't know. I'm scared for what's happened to Inter, because like they got a second bite of the cherry for a final because they lost the final to City. What they're not realizing is that was your final chance on Saturday. Those players there, that was your final chance. You're not going to be back in this final anymore.
This is like Atletico between 2014 to 2016.
100%.
Like you're not, because to me, against City, they were much better than this.
Yeah, they were much better. And the issue was scoring.
And guess what? The midfield was different.
The midfield was different. They had also played 60 games that year, because they went and won the league that year. They got deep into the Coppa Italia.
That was Lukaku 26 goals.
26 goals, Lukaku.
26 goals.
So when I watched this Inter, I'm like, wait a minute. Inter, like the mockery about Italian football is always old and tired men play slow football, but it literally was a parody of Italian football in our face on Saturday. And people loved seeing what PSG were doing, knocking that ball around, squeezed Inter Milan, chokehold them, said, "You're going nowhere. We're going to beat you up." We're here to, and I don't know PSG to be a mature side or a side of experience in that sense. That's where like the manager for me comes into play, because it's like he knows what this is. He's been here before, and when he wins leagues, he wins trebles. You know what I mean? He doesn't just do the league or do a double or whatever. So yeah, for me, Inter, I don't know, like Inter are, unfortunately, Robin, we're going to see some hard years from this side, because
and all of a sudden Bastoni's going to be available. Barella's going to be available.
That's not good. And Barella needs time off. On a real, he just needs time off. He's been the Barella talk cannot come forward. He has been outstanding. He's been Inter Milan's best player for the last 3 to 4 years. Player of the year every single year. He is outstanding. He's just hit the wall.
That's a real midfielder.
That's the thing. They've just hit the wall. Inter hit the wall, and it was just a game too far. It was a leg too far. Barcelona really are the ones that actually beat them up, and then to go and try and fight.
You're saying all the right things, and you know me, I love Inter, but this was bad.
It was.
This was really bad.
Yeah.
I don't care if you play 59, 72 games. This is the Champions League final.
Yeah.
To go lose 5.
Smoking on that and no weed.
They got 5 on it.
And it could have been more.
It could have been more. That's the scary thing. It could have been more.
Yeah, if Barcola knows what where the target is, there's 6 and 7.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie, yeah. A man asked me today, what do PSG need? I said, bruv, they need some attackers. Because you see Barcola and flipping what's the Portuguese brother's name?
Gonzalo
today.
Ramos.
Yeah, Gonzalo Ramos.
Get them out. Get them out. I watched them all tournament. I said, nah, these guys are not. Barcola's not it.
It's a shame because at the start of the season, or even last season, Barcola, Zaire Emery, Ramos, they were saying this was the one. 2-2s now. Doué's come in. You know what I'm saying? You know, Vitinha's in there. Fabian Ruiz. Do you know what, guys? I am so delighted. As a Serie A man, I know he's Spanish.
He's such a baller.
Fabian Ruiz of Napoli that I watched for years. To see him ball out the way he did, I was delighted. Delighted for him.
Over the moon.
And for me, he was player of the tournament in the Euros.
In the Euros, comfortably.
He was player of the tournament in the Euros, man. He was balling out. But for me, like I genuinely believe that this has also like highlighted why not to make it about United, this was a bad advert for 3 at the back. This was a very, very bad advert for 3 at the back.
Scary hours.
Because boy, they got touched.
Yeah.
They got moved to, man. Like I think there is a pretentious sort of like idea that the more numbers you have, the better you can defend. Bro, they were hitting them at every angle. High press, kept the ball, lower in the midfield. Vitinha, John Neves sweeping up. Fabian Ruiz was doing was moving the ball box to box, and the athleticism and the PMP in that PSG midfield, Inter couldn't live with it. So if your midfield isn't athletic enough to deal with to paper over the cracks of the wide areas you leave, that scoreline can happen many times over. I don't think PSG could believe the space they had.
It's crazy
in the middle of the pitch. And like I was watching it with D, and he was saying, "Oh, look at the possession." I said, "Inter Milan are not known for possession. Like, they're not known to be a possession side. They just know how to hit you on the break." And I think their fullbacks, their wingbacks, specifically DeMarco, neutralized. You could like this. I think Syria, as noble and as lofty as we and romanticized as we might like to hold it, because I get it. I get why you and Robin like Syria. I get it, because it's football. It's football in its potentially like most archaic, but also like purist, where you feel like, oh, like it's not about money. It's not about superstars. It's about the love of the game for what it is.
Yeah.
But I also think they also need to get with the program. When was the last time we had an Italian side national team where it was like, yes, these guys, don't get me wrong, everyone will point to the Euros in Wembley, but I don't feel like Italy's churning a lot of these guys out that they used to. Bro, you lot saw the midfield I posted in the group chat. Cambiasso, Zanetti, Wesley Sneijder. Are you taking a piss?
Real men.
Bro, real men. Like Barella's a real man, but them you can't. Çalhanoğlu is a failed number 10. Çalhanoğlu was playing 10. Was it in Hamburg?
I believe it was
Frank, one of them German teams, and he was far too slow. Every time he was meant to be linked with a big club, I kept hearing things about his pace. He's not fast.
No.
Mkhitaryan left Arsenal in the banter era, for crying out loud. You ask him to play box to box midfield.
He was cooked at United. He was cooked at United.
Thank you, Adrian. He was cooked, and he was playing number 10 them times. Yeah. Like, I think when I look at the midfield that Inter could have had, like, this is not it. This ain't it. This ain't it.
Yeah, Serie A, unfortunately, the difference between like Serie A and other leagues, the money just does not exist, and that's why everybody in Italy, when you look at the teams, they're all buying off each other, or they're rejects. Like Çalhanoğlu came from Milan. You know what I mean? Like we're talking about a guy that came across the road from there.
I think other leagues counter that by churning out young talent. The Portuguese league, the Dutch league, the German league.
Yeah, in Italy, historically, everybody is better older. So like everybody matures later. So like even and
that's the problem.
And this is the thing though. Do you remember like Locatelli was a big sign, was a big name at one point. He obviously got Tonali, you have Barella. They got players, but those are players that over time, it's like Verratti. Verratti didn't really get that acknowledgement unless you was watching him. He wasn't really getting that acknowledgement until he was a lot older. When you talk about your Bonucci's, your Chiellinis, people like that, even Pirlo, people started talking about Pirlo later when it was almost too late. When it was almost too late. So yeah, I'm saying youngsters in Serie A 27.
That has to change.
It's very much the case where it does have to change in order to get to join up with the levels. Or if you like every philosophy, like if every country sticks to their philosophy, they can win football matches, they can win tournaments, they can do things. It's just that when I look at Serie A or like look at Inter Milan's team, for example, how many nationalities were in that side? Too many. And this is why I'm a big advocate of like have your because like you say, if Italy need to produce and churn players, where are they?
But isn't that the philosophy of Inter? Wasn't Inter the club that wanted to buy players from outside the country?
Inter's the worst example because historically they've been known for, especially the South American market, they've historically been known for doing that. But like elsewhere, when I talk about like Juventus, for example, Juventus focused on pure Italian talent, and they would buy it. They would be like the Man United, where they would even buy the other Italian talent of the big guys. Do you know what I'm saying? Take them in their side. So yeah, anyway, but yeah, it's a long haul for Inter coming back and for Serie A in general.